wisely, and his leadership paved the way for many other countries in Africa and beyond. Mr. Speaker, let me assure the House that we are working hard to get back quickly to the pre-pandemic fiscal and debt trajectory. The fiscal policies implemented to provide relief during the pandemic has led to an increase in total public debt. The situation was made worse by the big drop in revenue collections last year. Total revenues in 2020 fell by 11.93 billion, equivalent to 3.1% of GDP, while total expenditures increased by 14.08 billion, equivalent to 3.7% of GDP. As a result, a budget deficit of 11.7% of GDP was recorded against a target of 4.7% of GDP, including the financial sector and energy sector related expenditure. The budget deficit was 15.0% of GDP. GDP growth also dropped to 0.4% compared to a projected growth rate of 6.8% before the pandemic. This growth, however, compares favorably with the sub-Saharan African average of negative 1.7%. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
honorable members,
under no illusion.
just a bit. The first deputy speaker to take the chair.
Beg your pardon? Second chief. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are under no illusion as to the economic challenges facing our country today, how to ease the suffering of Ghanaians, transform the economy, how to ease the suffering of Ghanaians, transform the economy to create jobs, and share the expected wealth across all households, such as providing security and education. I would keep the president awake at night. How to broaden the revenue base, keep a grip on expenditure, protect the public purse, and at the same time build with urgency the needed infrastructure, collecting revenue, managing our debt and expenditure commitments, and paying the bills to stimulate economic activity are the orders he has given to us, his ministers, and other appointees to carry out over the next 3 years. Mr. Speaker, we know we can get the job done. It is well known that prior to the pandemic, we had stabilized and turned around the economy between January 2017 and March 2020. We had been able to reverse the worrying economic trends we inherited and place the country on a path of fiscal sustainability and growth. We doubled the economic growth rate from 3.4 percentage points to an average of 7% between the period. It is undisputed, Mr. Speaker, that we brought down the fiscal deficit below the 5% threshold. We improved our gross international reserves from 4.9 billion to 9.9 billion, 4.7 months of imports. We provided free SHS for 1.2 million Ghanaian students. We provided free hot meals for 3.4 million public pupils in basic schools. We supported 1.9 million farmers with improved seedlings and fertilizers through our Planting for Food and Jobs program. We provided temporary employment to 100,000 of young people through the NAPCO program. We abolished several Newton taxes. We set the nation on its biggest private sector-owned industrialization program in the history of Ghana with the 1D1F program, and we registered the biggest foreign exchange and we registered the biggest foreign exchange earnings from tourists during our historic 2019 year of return program. By March 2020, Mr. Speaker, our first quarter macro fiscal indicators reflected the turnaround we had accomplished over the 3.5 years. Indeed, we had just experienced an oversubscription of our $3 billion bond issuance and set a record of the longest sovereign Africa bond of 41 years on the international capital markets as a result of strong investor confidence. Mr. Speaker, then COVID struck. This derailed our transformation agenda and eroded the program we had attained the previous year. The focus on the 2021 budget statement and policy presented on 12 March 2021 was therefore anchored on debt sustainability and consolidation while providing some fiscal stimulus. We set out to complete ongoing programs and projects, consolidate the gains from the recovery efforts, and continue our agenda towards the revitalization and transformation of the economy. Today, 17th November 2021, I'm here on behalf of His Excellency the President to provide this august House with an update on progress we have made towards post-pandemic economic recovery following the confidence Ghanaians repose in him with a renewed mandate on 7 December 2020. I'll also share with you the plan to get us back to pre-pandemic macro stability and growth levels. More importantly, Mr. Speaker, I'll share the President's strategy to improve the living standards of Ghanaians and address the central challenge that confronts us today, unemployment. Mr. Speaker, we are very large in our capacity as a government to turn things around. We turned around the economic crisis we inherited in 2017. We are turning around the economic crisis. We are turning around the economic crisis the pandemic brought in 2020. The challenge is on, and we are determined to prevail. And with the people behind us and the Almighty on our side, we know we shall prevail.